came in and just didn't even say anything, sat down beside me and hugged me and held me while I was literally sobbing. And she just said, "It's gonna be okay. You don't have to worry anymore. The treatment worked and we've saved your eye. This place has been such a blessing for us. There's no way we could have paid for treatment back home if we had to.
Phone's on YouTube, all right.
We can come here and we can just solely focus on taking care of her and helping her heal."
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
If you came across a child struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you recognize a 13-year-old boy who gets into fights at school?
Not because he's a boy, but because he's hungry.
Or a 2-year-old girl who cries all night? Not because she's sick, but because she went to bed without enough to eat. Or maybe a 9-year-old boy who hopes a friend invites him to
These commercials are very depressing.
Just listen to them earlier, just and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like drug addiction. All sorts of stuff.
Do you usually put these on?
Yeah, we'll put them. So, and then you want to make sure you talk to the microphone. Talk right here, and then the volume control is down here on your left.
Every day, but never knew we're hungry.
Okay.
I am child.
Easy. I think they're going to put us on right after this commercial.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
The following programming is sponsored by Thomas Toole III.
When people follow you on Instagram, you want to go to your website.
Its management, or Beasley Media Group.
Good afternoon, Greater Philadelphia area. This is Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Jordan Slaughter. We both work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line, the number one RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. We've got some Federal Reserve news this week after the 25 basis point cut. We are going to be talking about Realtor.com's 2026 forecast and why sub 6% rates may not be the win that they sound like and how housing affordability can improve. We've also got some local news around what to do on New Year's Eve. Some things happening in Phoenixville as well as down in Concord Township. So if you get some value out of this or you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to schedule a call with Jordan from our team to talk about what this Federal Reserve cut might mean for you, you can do that with the link right in the comments. So Jordan, first off, thanks for coming on here. You made it to the station on time and without getting lost, which is better than most of the guests recently. And these are people we work with. So congratulations on that. Yeah, how's everything going? Tell me what you're feeling about this Fed rate cut here. I know there was a little news last week. We'll break it down. What's your sense been in the market? Is there relief? Is there excitement? Is there a lot of holiday malaise going on? What are you seeing in the field right now?
I think it's a little bit of everything here, Tom, right now. I mean, obviously the holiday season is, number one in everybody's mind as we come up on these next 2 weeks here. But after having this recent rate cut, I think it does bring a little bit relief to a lot of my clients that I'm currently talking to, a lot of people that I've been talking to right now. I think people are kind of getting excited. But there is that but of kind of it'll draw more people out into the market at this point in time. So I think it's a little bit of both.
So what are your clients excited about? Because there's a lot of things we're going to talk about what this rate cut actually means. What is going on in their mind? Tell us about what people are excited about in the marketplace, because that's what consumers really need to hear right now.
I think definitely affordability definitely might have a little bit more bang for their buck during this time. So yeah, just the affordability is the numbers.
Love it. All right. So affordability, which we're going to get to. So I'm going to deliver the comments here because the comments often mean more than what the Federal Reserve actually does. So it was the final policy move of 2025. There was a 1/4 point rate cut. Now, this is not the mortgage rates. These are the federal funding rates. And it was a divided vote. It was 9-3, which is very unusual. They usually don't have a divided vote like this. And when Jerome Powell came out during the press conference, he mentioned housing pretty clearly. He said, housing is going to be a problem. We can raise and lower interest rates, but we really don't have the tools to address a structural housing shortage. And he went on to say that the market's still in the broad range of neutral after making 3 rate cuts at the end of this year. And the 3 dissent votes was the first since 2019. And it really shows that the Fed's kind of divided on how to balance inflation being above target and also with the uncertainty in the labor market right now. So when you see this divided Federal Reserve, I guess my question for you is that causing concern for anybody, or are consumers not even having that on their radar right now?
I guess it really depends on who you talk to. Clients that are either really, educated in this atmosphere. If someone wants to purchase a house, they're going to do it at the end of the day with, the right motivation to do so. But I think it's a little bit of both at this time.
Well, and I think that there's some people that want the divided vote. There was two people that didn't want a rate cut at all, and there was one that wanted a 50-point basis cut, and then the dot plot's kind of all over the place. That's the visual of it's supposed to be anonymous, but now it's not because we know who voted and who didn't, of where people think the policy should go. So, and I when he talks about housing being a problem, the inventory still seems to be the issue, at least in places like the greater Philadelphia area. So with your people that are excited, are they seeing enough inventory? Is inventory still a challenge for a lot of your customers and consumers you're working with? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Well, we're seeing some more inventory. Obviously, everybody at the end of the day has specific needs. And if they don't see that home that has their two to three necessities, it's hard to make them budge on that. So while we're seeing some more inventory, whether it's in their home searches, things are popping up on the market and staying a little bit longer. It's really about if that house doesn't really have those necessities again that can be changed easily, it's hard to kind of get them to make that move.
And inventory is always the driver because rates could be in the sevens and someone sees the right home they've been looking for, they could make a move. They could be lower. A lot of it depends on that. So I do agree with you that inventory, it could be the challenge here. And this is the first time the Fed's really come out and said that. Now, you mentioned affordability, and there was an article that got posted on Housing Wire by Mike Simonson. He's the chief economist over at Compass, and he was previously the CEO of Altos Research. And what he came out and said, I thought this was very interesting, is that after 4 years of slow sales, rising prices, affordability challenges, we're starting to see some conditions that should start to shift in favor of buyers. Not favor buyers, but shift in the favor of buyers. So they're kind of moving the other direction. And one of those things was that it looks like home prices are going to be essentially flat in 2026 based on a lot of forecasts. Not so much in the Northeast because we don't have enough inventory here, but in other parts of the country. And when you see that happen, and then there's also it's gradual appreciation. I mean, people are talking about 1.7% appreciation in prices this year is not a huge number. And with rates coming down to these, 6, and low 6 range numbers, it's meant a big difference. I mean, do you think that's what's driving the excitement with your clients? Because rates have been persistent in this range, in that 6.2 to 6.3 range, really for the entire fourth quarter.
They have been, and I think it's just hope that I'm feeling right now from my clients of something new hitting the market, something that's going to be a little bit more for them during this time. Everybody kind of gets excited, going towards the spring market, seeing more inventory during that time, and something that I'm having conversations with my clients about right now, as you also addressed, with buyers having a little bit more leeway during this time, I want to say. There's the possibility of them finding something during this time when there's a little bit less competition is where I'm going with that one. So I think there's just some excitement right now around that new opportunity.
Well, if you look at the affordability, and I had the chance to interview Danielle Hale from Realtor.com. She's the chief economist there. She said the same thing, where we're seeing rates get closer to 6%. It just, when you're up at the high sixes, on home prices are typically greater than 5x the normal income. It's a price to income ratio. And when you get closer to 5, it's 4 to 5 times. And the general rule of thumb is that people will buy a home that's going to be 4x their annual income. So when you get closer to there, there are some things that are happening. I don't know the rates are going to go down a whole lot. There's predictions all over the place next year. What I'm not seeing is any predictions are going to be going back up. And I think that probably has as much to do with it as anything else. So the lock-in effect's another issue here. Do you have anyone that you're dealing with that's locked in right now? And when I say lock-in effect, they got this low rate. They don't want to go buy something else at a higher rate is basically what we mean. Do you have anyone that's kind of dealing with that?
Yes, I've definitely talked to clients recently that, they want something more out of a home. They're looking for something else in a home. But when they're sitting in a house that's, around that 3% range when they locked in during COVID time, it's kind of hard for them to make that decision.
So, and the lock-in effect is real. And there's some signs here that may be fading. So when you look at some of the positive developments for market activity, by the end of 2025, there's going to be more American homeowners with mortgages above 6 than those with loans below 3%. Not in that like low 3 range. There's a lot of people there, but below 3. Because it was that window in time where people were getting like 2.75. So as of Q4 in 2025, the average interest rate on outstanding mortgages is 4.4%, the same level it was at the end of 2019. And nearly 20% of mortgages now carry rates above 6%, and that's going to grow with every new home purchase that happens. So the homeowners that are in that range, I'm clear they're going to behave a lot differently than those locked into a 3% handle. They're going to be more willing to move, more willing to sell. And knowing that these are the lowest rates we've seen over the past 3 years, you could get someone that bought a home 3 years ago and maybe something changed in their life. Maybe they're having twins, right? Or they got a job reload. So in 2026, the estimate is 10 million homeowners will have mortgages above 6, creating a growing pool of potential sellers who won't feel anchored in place. So what kind of optimism or hope does that give you as an agent for some of your clients looking for homes, as well as just for some people not being so tied to their mortgage rate anymore?
A lot. It's the ebbs and flow of real estate. I think it feels like there could be a little ease up right here because everybody or a majority of people more so are now, in that 6% range with interest rates. So it could open up a lot of doors for people who, even if you're a first time home buyer and you recently purchased, who knows what could happen a few years down the road. So I think it definitely increases my optimism. And I think it should be something that we look forward to.
Well, when you think about that, I mean, with this lock-in effect, I mean, there are people that say, you know what, it just doesn't make sense financially. Because when you look at like the 3 reasons someone should move, we've talked about this. It's, does the house work for you? Does it check like 70% of the boxes? Can you live there for the next 5 years?
Yeah.
And can you afford the payment? Well, if you're going from, and affording the payment is going to be, there's a lot of factors there. But if you're going from a 3 to a 6, that payment's going to jump up so much. There's a lot of sticker shock there for folks. I mean, how often do you run into someone that wants to move, but maybe is just a little gun shy about it?
Pretty often. I mean, I think it's hard sometimes to give that up. But always, as I said earlier too, I think if someone has the motivation, if there's a need for more in a house, then, it's up to that person at the end of the day. But if there's a will to move, there's a way.
So give me some examples of that motivation to move where people buck the financially conscious decision. Obviously, that this happens a lot, by the way. But what are some of those examples that maybe some of our listeners should be thinking about if they're running into these things?
Yeah, I mean, I think off the top of my head, I think about my clients who would love to downsize right now. Obviously, there might be going for a lower purchase price with the downsize, but they're still in a lower interest rate at this point in time. So I just think there's definitely different scenarios where whether it's someone wants, more space for their kids going like after they are moving along in the school system. Someone wants to downsize. Someone is just looking for a different point in a house. I think that there's definitely different opportunities that people look for.
Well, and it gets to a point where people they can't put their lives on hold anymore. And I think that's very real because if you're looking at housing as just like, hey, this is an investment, I don't know that that's a great decision. That's just me. That's just my opinion because you're living there. It's not like you can't just sell it when you think it's not performing anymore, like a stock or a bond. And there is something to owning some real estate, but it's the people that you think about it and they've been pushing this off, and now all of a sudden 5 years go by, kids get older, a lot can change. And what were you doing 5 years ago? I mean, think about that. I'm not putting you on the spot, but that's like a rhetorical question, right? Like 5
Yes.
years ago, your life was probably a lot
Yeah,
different for
for
most
sure.
people. So that's the thing that I if you're considering a move and you're listening to this right now, it's really about like, does this make sense for me or not? So, and with these rates kind of being persistently where they are, unless you're in a home you can live in the next 20, 25 years, at some point you're probably going to give up the rate. So I think that's a pretty normal thing to be considering. So we're seeing that home prices are going to be a little flatter, and this is tracked by the Case-Shiller index. So I mean, they these indexes are developed and they put numbers on where prices are. They're saying they're below 2024 levels. I mean, the home prices are still going up. It's just it's kind of flat. I mean, the market. You looked at our market. We saw a 1.5 increase in sales over the past 12 months. So. So the next thing I want to hit on here, Jordan, is these predictions for 2026. So Danielle Hale, who, if you look at her 2025 predictions, tell me how accurate you think these were. So she predicted an average mortgage rate of 6.6 and a year-end rate of 6.3%. Pretty accurate.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah, I mean, nailed it, right?
Yes.
Existing median home price appreciation up 2% year over year. That's for the entire country. Think that's accurate?
Pretty accurate.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Existing home sales up 0.1%. I think that's like spot on. I mean,
3%.
she nailed these predictions, right? I
Yes.
could keep going through the whole thing. Existing home for sale inventory up 15.2% year over year. We're seeing like 10% in the greater Philadelphia area, but that's about where it is nationally. So here's these predictions for 2026, and tell me if you think she's right, wrong, or otherwise. And we can kind of go through each one of them here. So mortgage rates. She is predicting an average mortgage rate of 6.3%. For the entire year, and the year-end number to be right around 6.3%. How do you think that's gonna play out?
I mean, with where they are sitting right now, where they've been hovering around, I think that's pretty spot on, and hopefully they stay around that number.
Yeah, and I think what she said when she did this is, I hope I'm wrong on some of these,
Mm.
but the lowest we're seeing any prediction is like 5.9%.
Mhm.
So I mean, I think this could be pretty accurate, and given her history of predicting these things, I think it's pretty accurate as well. Existing home sales, and to give some perspective here, NAR is predicting this stuff to be like 5.9. So there's obviously some deviation. Existing home sales, a 1.7% increase year over year for the entire country. What do you think about that one? I'm putting you on the spot here. It's okay to be wrong,
No,
by the
no,
way.
it's all good. I mean, honestly, when I hear that number, I'm surprised it's not more.
Mhm.
I'm surprised it's not more. But yeah, that's my thought on it.
So a lot of people feel the same way you do, and these are all predictions. Some of these
Mhm.
are going to be wrong. NAR is predicting like a 10+% increase. A lot of people are predicting we're going to see higher numbers than that. Her thought behind this, and she uses a lot of different models, and this is one analysis here, is that at 1.7, because we're not seeing rates come down as much, which
Okay.
actually this makes sense with her total predictions. We're not going to see a lot of movement. I would imagine if rates do dip into that like 5.9 range, even,
Mhm.
you're going to see a lot of people start coming out of the woodwork just because they see
Yes.
that. It's like when the things go on sale for Black Friday, right?
Yes.
So I tend to, if rates stay at 6.3, she's probably going to be right here. I'd love to see more homes being sold. Now, for the agents listening, just because the market's only going to be up 1.7%, we just talked about this. I mean, that doesn't mean your business can't jump up significantly. I'm surprised it's a little low here. It's not higher as well. I'd love to see more transactions. I think that if rates kind of stay where they are, there is some uncertainty in the market right now.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying too. If it drops below 6% to that 5.96%, then definitely we'll see a lot more activity going on then. But who knows if that's I don't want to say a good thing or a bad thing, but just really how that could impact everyone in the market.
Well, if rates come down to 5.9, I think everyone better like buckle up, because there's going to be a lot of people coming, because that's going to be the lowest rate we've seen in going on 4 years. And if that's what happens, then all of a sudden you're going to see a lot of demand. You're still going to be dealing with an inventory shortage, because that 3 to 5.9 is not going to make a lot of sense there. And inventory is rising, but it's the pace is slowing right now. So you got to be kind of careful there. Existing inventory, 8.9% increase year over year. So more homes coming for sale.
Seems about right.
I tend to agree there. I think where the rates are kind of the key metric here. And even Jerome Powell said it. There's not a whole lot they can do there. So her predictions are based on a model, right? And she was very accurate. Like if you were going to bet on this stuff, I'm not a big gambler, but if you were going to bet, you'd want to. She'd be the person you want to give like the pay for picks. You know what I'm saying?
Mind,
so
yeah.
I don't think you can really gamble on this stuff, but you get my point.
Mean,
so,
yes.
And looking at this, I think people need to kind of be careful about what they think is going to happen in 2026. I mean, hearing these numbers versus some of the other predictions we've shared internally at our team. I mean, what are you interpreting here for your clients? I mean, you hear all this information. What advice would you give to someone who's just thinking about buying? They've been on the fence about buying. Let's start there. What advice would you have based on these predictions that we're going to see rates stay about where they are, more inventory come to the market, a few more home sales? What would your recommendation be to those people that are just not ready to commit to buying?
Yeah, I'm definitely, even after this weekend, I toured with some clients, and one in local to our market, so Downingtown, Westchester.
Perfect.
And we saw some homes still leave in 2 days, still leave the market in 2 days. So right now, overall, what I'm specifically talking to my buyers about who are looking to purchase in the spring summer market is we really have to be properly planned and ready to go. Whether that's, we know your criteria, we know specifically what you're looking for. If you're looking in a certain neighborhood, making sure that you're having your conversations with your lender, staying up to date with that, but really trying to make sure that they know, depending on whatever happens going into next year, if you are heavily looking to move, we have to be as tight as possible during this time to make sure that, we're not missing out on opportunities. Because, if we're looking this aggressively, you can be sure that other people are too.
So that's really smart, because a lot of folks, in my view, they want to kind of pull back a little bit. This happened to every single agent in the history of real estate that's done any business. And then they're either in or they're out. Like there's no, like halfway doesn't work.
Yes.
It's kind of like anything, like you're either committed or you're not. Like there's no halfway committed. And when you pull out, that's when you miss opportunities. And I think that rubs people the wrong way. So I'm not saying you got to be out there looking at every home that comes to the market, but you got to be paying attention. So what are some of the best ways people can do that?
Actively staying on home searches, actively, whether that's Zillow, Realtor.com, if you're working with an agent, looking at the home searches they're sending over to you and kind of staying up to date. I mean, I have some clients who look literally every single morning, every single night. And it's a good tactic, to just stay on it. And just kind of, if you're looking in a specific neighborhood, kind of just monitoring that, if you're giving it a drive by, all that good stuff. I don't think there's one bad approach, just being active, staying in communication at the end of the day.
Sounds like your clients are getting good advice. So nice job, because I mean, when people don't hear that stuff, they don't really pay attention. And I think it's the worst thing that happens is you're like surprised and you're not ready and you're flat footed. And you think about it when you look at the people that are prepared versus the ones that aren't. Proper preparation is going to really help you in these situations. So that's really good advice there. Now, for the folks that are thinking about selling, that have kind of been on the fence, and I think this one gets a little tougher because selling is such a big commitment. Like you got to get the house ready. You've got to meet with people. You got to talk about pricing. You got to arrange some work. That can take months. It's not. So if selling's on your maybe agenda in 2026, what advice would you have for those people, given these predictions that we're hearing from Danielle Hale here?
I know that's different than talking with a buyer, but I will go back to, and as you started saying as well, but the preparation, the planning, because, if these numbers stay where they're at and we see, a surge of buyers hit the market next year, there's going to be opportunities for for buyers, but there's going to be maybe a little bit in specific areas, a little bit more competition for sellers. But, I just think it's the preparation. And that's really it beforehand.
Yeah. If I'm a seller, I'm starting to at least meet with people.
Yes.
Get an idea where the market's headed and figuring out what I need to do, because one of the biggest things sellers underestimate, and this isn't everybody. I've walked into some homes and they're like, you could list this tomorrow. Like it shows that well. That's usually not the case. And the people that are holding on have been in their home a long time. So, when you get to that point, you see that. What I'm imagining is you at least want to see what you need to do, where the market's headed, and then figure out where you're going to go to. Because if you don't have a plan where you're going to as a seller, to me, you're probably not going to sell unless there's like, I know exactly where I'm moving to. I know exactly where I want to go. So I would start to at least have those conversations if you're thinking about it, because most sellers, the data shows, according to Zillow, it's like a 5 to 6 month consideration when they even start thinking, like really think about it, not like kicking around the idea, but see if they like it, have a place to go, and then that can make a pretty big difference. So I agree with you there. I think it's preparation is going to go a long way for sure. So we talked about these the two comparisons here. You got Realtor.com and you got NAR, and there's people all in between. What Danielle said was that sub 6% mortgage rates isn't the win it sounds like. I think everyone's waiting for rates to come down. Is that fair to say? Like anyone involved in like real estate?
Yes.
So what are these conversations like with your clients or among other agents before I get into why we need to caution this sub 6% is going to save your business and save your real estate decision?
I mean, I was even just having a conversation with some clients this weekend who've actually, they actively are staying up to date with the market and kind of what's going on. And one of them brought up, if it does go under, if the numbers go under 6%, I could see that being like a free for all, pretty much a frenzy, which I could agree with. I could see, it will draw a lot of people out into the market at that time. So I can understand why she would say that. And I know I've kind of beaten a dead horse at this point, but I mean, it goes into the preparation. We can't control anything in regards to the numbers at the end of the day, whether it goes up or down. So it's just, if it does go down to that number, just realizing that, you might be in a bidding war. There's just a lot that could be going on during that time. So I think it just goes back to paying attention to the market, staying up to date with your real estate agent, and being prepared for what's to come.
And that's really great advice, because I'm clear that there's so much pent up demand, especially in the greater Philadelphia area, that would definitely happen. But what people need to be kind of mindful of here is that a sub 6% rate, I mean, how do we even get there, right? If mortgage rates move meaningfully lower, it's usually because the economy is slowing down. And that's not a scenario where everything's like healthy. Yes. And I think people need to kind of understand that. And that slowdown doesn't automatically imply a recession, but it would talk about softer job growth, rising unemployment, income uncertainty, factors that can actually undermine buyer confidence. And, there's this talk of like, is there a happy medium that exists where rates fall far enough to help affordability without a broader economic damage? And that's possible. That's like the perfect storm where, there are scenarios where rates come down a little bit without a full recession, but those moves they're kind of modest. It's not the kind of change that suddenly fixes affordability. So that might feel significant, but then I think you're going to see some people pulling out of the market in a lot of cases. No different than when COVID-19 happened. People were very nervous early on. And then there's the question if they actually solve affordability. So I want to get your take on this. So, the Federal Reserve policy, and if they have the ability to make a couple rate cuts and change this, but given how closely those decisions are tied to expectations around borrowing costs, I think you got to look at the broader picture here, which is what actually happens in the housing market when mortgage rates fall. And if the Fed policy did cause lower mortgage rates, it's not going to fix what's driving affordability challenges, because lower rates don't create more homes. And without more supply, affordability pressures really don't go away. I mean, even if we saw supply double, we'd be at still like a 4-month supply of homes on the market, and even market 6 months. So I think that there's this pipe dream that lower rates are going to solve all these problems. If you talk to anybody that was selling homes, in 2020, 21, there was people were bidding each other up even way more. I mean, think about the most aggressive bidding war you've been in, and like 10x that, and that's what was happening. So rates can help with confidence, but they don't change the underlying imbalance between supply and demand. So, I mean, have any of your clients like brought this up, or are people actually thinking about this? They're just kind of hoping rates are going to come down. It's going to solve all their problems.
I think it's a little bit of both. Definitely, I want to say a little bit more the latter. But when I send over numbers to, clients with the current interest rate right now, it is, it in everybody's different situations. But they would love to see that number come down a little bit more for the affordability of these houses, especially when we start talking about, being in an HOA community,
For sure.
and added things like that nature.
And then the thing is with an HOA community, I think a lot of people are like, oh, they got these big fees. I'm like, well, who's cutting your lawn? Who's taking care of the maintenance for you? And
absolutely.
And some people value their time more than money.
Yes.
So I think you got to make that decision yourself. Like personally for me, I'd be like, great, someone's taking care of that stuff. I can go out and do something else. That's not everybody, and they don't think that way. So HOA and a condo community, I mean, some places do have higher fees than others, but you're still paying that insurance one way or another here. And so, that's kind of the, supply to me is the most important thing here. And, it's when you look at the supply that we have, I think a lot of it comes down to like local zoning laws and government. And we don't have enough land here to really build a lot more stuff. You really got, if you want new homes, you got to go further west. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, because anywhere right outside Philadelphia, there's just not a lot of places to build. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So, what are you hearing about inventory right now with some of your clients that have maybe been on the fence? I mean, because I think it's really about affordability, and inventory is the root cause here more than anything else.
We're seeing with the clients that I'm thinking about off the top of my head right now, we're seeing houses that are, while their inventory and their searches, and there's things that are around their neighborhood. Again, going back to earlier, it's either, they're missing out on some things in the houses that it's a necessity for them.
Okay.
Or, some of these homes that have been sitting on the market for quite some time, just needs some work done to it. So while we might be seeing some homes pop up into their searches, it's just not really, there's not that many options out there for what they're looking for, depending on the area.
And I think that's the driver here, is that people are not happy with their options. Yes. And it's, am I better off where I am now or not? And that's why you talked about motivation. There's got to be something in your life going on that causes the move right now. And I don't think it's going to change too much in 2026. So let's take a quick break. We're going to come back. We've got New Year's Eve events going on in Philadelphia. This is actually pretty interesting. And there's some stuff happening in Phoenixville as well as down in Concord Township when it comes to some development. We'll break it all down next on Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
I'm Tom Toole of the Tom Toole Sales Group at Remax.
Nice job, Jordan.
If you're thinking of becoming a real estate
I got like 4 or 5
agent in the
clips.
Philly area, I have a special offer for you.
Right.
Our
You
team
cool if I give this out?
$65 million
Right. Some people are not.
in 2021,
Thank you.
making us the number
Did
one
you take
Remax
clips at
team
the
in
same time
Pennsylvania
of
and a top
What I usually do
1%
is I
team
message
nationally.
Nick.
Our agents love us because
The
we offer them
minute
a
mark?
successful career,
Mhm.
a
And then
great
he
life,
clips them
and
from
an
here,
unlimited
and then he,
bonus.
because that's the only way to do
Agents
this.
who've been with us
Gotcha.
for at least a year
That's why I'm typing on my
average
computer the
30+
entire time.
sales. Even our brand new agents average 17 to 24 sales a year.
All right,
We
let me
offer
give this a
proven
look.
systems and expert training. We help you set more appointments and sell more
Listings
houses.
coming on.
Now here's the offer. If you don't have a real estate license yet, we offer real estate scholarships so you can get one for free. Check it out
Right, when
at
I come back from vacation, I have
realestatescholarshipprogram.com.
Where are you going on vacation?
I'm doing Delray,
Oh, you
Florida.
told me
It's
this, yeah,
fine.
duh.
It's all, but
That's
I'm
Tom,
listing
Toole with an
appointment when I come back. So I wanted
Get
to
more out of your real estate
practice
career,
one
and
more
remember
time.
the real estate golden rule. You always get
When's
more
the listing
when you
appointment?
work with Tom Toole. The Tom Toole
It's gonna
Sales
be
Group
on
is the number one
1/6.
Remax team in
All right.
Pennsylvania.
Well,
with
just let me
over
know. I mean, we can set up a time to
165
practice.
million in volume
We'll do something outside of the
2021.
training because it's a little more
I'm Tom
effective that
Toole,
way.
and
We
our
just say
team
that's what
has
we're talking
achieved
about.
that kind of success by being a great place to work with and to work for.
Where's the
No
listing?
one knows Greater Philly better than we do.
Havertown.
We know real estate,
Nice.
but more
Yes.
That's a good
importantly,
one.
we're real people.
You working with these
So-
people, or
This is, I've been talking to this woman since the beginning of the year.
That's how it goes.
And then she, like, in the summertime kind of went quiet. And then it was the day we were making calls. First person, yes. Yeah.
And we're a top 1% real estate.
Everyone who made
team in
calls
the
that day
country.
did really
We call
well.
it
That was
AAA
it's funny how that works sometimes. So
Advocate, ally, and advisor.
it's good.
Because this
Just trying to get you out of your
isn't
comfort zone a little bit, make it more normal. That's the idea.
If you're buying or selling a home, call the Tom Toole Sales Group at
New
Remax
Year's
main
Eve.
line at
horrible day.
610-692-6976.
You're gonna be down in Delray Beach. When are you leaving?
I leave.
Tom,
I'm
Toole
going
with
for a
an
little
E
bit, but the
dot com.
30th
Sell your home for
to
more,
the
and
5th.
remember
That's
the
perfect.
real
That's the best
estate
time to
golden
go.
It
rule.
is, yes.
You always get
Going to
more
New Year's
when you work
in
with Tom
Florida.
Toole.
If you're looking for
Yeah.
a mortgage, in
I'm going to see
the Philadelphia
Stranger Things
area,
finale.
my
The movie theater with my kid. Well, that'll be fun. Different kind of fun.
Yeah. Wait, the finale on Netflix or?
Yeah, well, they're doing it's only in one movie theater. They're doing it like, and he was like, "We got to go see it." And I'm like, "All right, but like, probably never going to want to hang out with me again. You're 13, so Yeah, it's like 8 o'clock. We have to go to Warrenton, though, which is like kind of far, but should be fun.
Where's that?
It's like Bucks County, like Montgomery. It's like off like 309. It's the only theater in the whole area
That has it going on right now.
I woke up at midnight to buy these freaking tickets, and then website crashed. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Everybody's probably on it.
Well, and then we're in like row 3 too, so I'm gonna be able to watch it. He's pretty excited though.
That's awesome.
That's what I'll be doing New Year's Eve. A little different lifestyle. So.
My business partner Kyle Sutera, we've got you covered. Equal housing opportunity, subject to credit approval, MLS 3029 and MLS 1390366, MLSconsumeraccess.org.
That sounds so fun going to Florida.
I'm excited for it.
It'll be good.
I haven't been to this part of Florida yet either.
I haven't either. I've never been down there. We're going to Siesta Keys for spring break with the kids. That'll be fun. But
You've never been down to Florida?
I've been to Florida,
Okay,
not
but
Delray
not
Beach.
Delray Beach. Okay.
I've been to West Palm, Miami. Do this radio show. All right. Welcome back to Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Jordan Slaughter. We both work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. There's a Ferris wheel coming to Phoenixville. There's a new anchor at the shops at Concord. That's a very controversial development down there. I don't know if you're aware of this, Jordan. We'll talk about it. And there's a whole bunch of stuff going on New Year's Eve. One thing is really cool, and I'll explain it to you in a second. So if you get some value out of this, where you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel. You can hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to schedule a call with our team about real estate and talk to Jordan specifically, you can do that with the link in the comments. So we were just chatting about New Year's Eve. And I think, New Year's Eve is kind of like a funny day. I don't know if you saw this. I think this is one of the coolest things we've seen happen in a long time. LL Cool J, who dropped out of the Welcome America conference concert because of the strike going on in Philadelphia. I don't know if you remember this, on 4th of July. So they have the conference. I keep saying concert every year. You ever been down to this thing on the Ben Franklin Parkway?
I have not been down there yet.
It's a disaster. So, I mean, it's not like the most fun thing. But every year they do this concert. And because the city workers were striking, LL Cool J said, hey, I'm not playing the concert. It's a free concert. So I appreciate that, because that was real. I mean, I don't know if you paid attention. It was like trash all over the place. There was dumpster fires all over the city. So I thought that was a great sign of solidarity. Like, you got to pay these workers. Yeah. Especially the trash.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you imagine if your trash didn't get picked up for like 2 or 3 weeks?
No, I would be pretty upset.
It'd be horrible, right? Yes. I get annoyed when there's the holiday collection. Yes. And it's like delayed a couple days because you plan on that stuff happening. So Eakins Oval, 8 o'clock on New Year's Eve. LL Cool J will be there with DJ Jazzy Jeff, Adam Blackstone, and then some other folks as well. I love that he did this and he came back and actually honored his commitment, because he declined at the last minute. I thought that was pretty cool. So what do you think about this move? I think this. I mean, I get excited about this, and it actually shows that there's still good people out there.
Yeah, I think it always goes back to the principle for me. I think that's pretty awesome that he came back out for round 2. And I mean, the first reason for not being there, I can understand it. So I think that's pretty awesome of him.
So that should be fun on New Year's Eve. Now, so what are you doing New Year's Eve? You're not going to be around here.
I'm not going to be around here. I'm going to Florida. I'm going to go soak up some sun for a little bit.
So you're doing the fun thing. I'll be at the Stranger Things finale with my son in Warrenton, the only place that has that playing. But there's a lot of other stuff going on here. So tell me if you've been to some of these places. I want to run down. Because to me, like, New Year's Eve is kind of like amateur hour. I don't know how you feel about that, but there's a lot of great local businesses you could support. So 9 Prime in Westchester. Ever been there?
I love 9 Prime.
So they have a celebration going on. So I have not. They're having dinner reservations up until 10:45, champagne toast, and it's like, tell me about 9 Prime. You've been there. It sounds like you like it a lot. So
9 Prime is probably my go-to spot in Westchester. We'll usually do Johnny O's, the speakeasy down there. So, I mean, their food's great. The bartenders are very nice. Servers are very nice. Everybody there. I know the GM. He is a great guy. So, yeah, it's a great spot to be. And I'm sure they'll do New Year's Day right.
Yeah, so there's a 9 o'clock celebration. It's like a Great Gatsby speakeasy theme. Sounds like that's right in line with going to Johnny O's, which is awesome. And you can, all you got to do is call and schedule reservations. That's at 9 Prime, 9 North High Street in Westchester. The next one is At the Table. This is in Wayne. It's at 118 West Lancaster Avenue. They're doing a 6-course chef tasting menu. starting at 5:30 if you want like the early bird. I would probably eat dinner a little later. I don't know about you. So have you ever been to this place?
That place I've not been.
I haven't either, but it's $185 a person, and then once you get past 8:30, it's $200 a person. But that looks like a pretty great option as well. There's also Hook and Ladder Sky Bar. If you've been this place is pretty cool.
Haven't been to that place. I've heard of it though.
So it's in Conshohocken, 46 Fayette Street, and they have like drinks, music, dinner reservations up until 8:30, and they have a DJ party from 9:30 to 2 with a champagne toast, and you can reserve it right on their website. There's another one with the Samples. It's a band that's playing at 118 North in Wayne. I mean, I haven't been to see a live band in a long time. So right at 118 North, there's different tiered packages. Top Golf.
Oh, yes.
So right, this is actually pretty cool. So Top Golf, they're having like a chef crafted meal, cocktails, midnight toast, and that's going to go from 9 to 1 with a live DJ. I mean, that Top Golf in King of Prussia is pretty nice.
It is.
And one of the things I like about it's actually easy to get to. Like some of these Top Golfs are a real pain in the butt to go to.
I know. I think the last one I went to was in Philadelphia. I forget which part of the city it was in, but a little difficult to get in there. But I do like the King of Prussia one.
And the last thing we want to highlight here, there's actually two. Have you been to the Valley Forge Casino? I still have not been to this place.
Sadly, yes, I have.
Sadly,
been.
no. So,
Yes.
Well, they have 4 parties going on: Fire and Ice, Neon Glow, Karaoke Night, and Ring In 2026. Sounds like you're not a big fan of the casino.
Not that specific one, but
Not that one, yeah.
yes, but it sounds like it would be a good time.
So, do you know Sinbad was the opening act they had there when they opened that place up?
Wow.
That was. I wish I would have gone to see that. So, Paladar Kitchen, great spot in King of Prussia in the town center. They've got something going on. There's tons of places here, lots of local businesses you can support. I just wanted to highlight what LL Cool J is doing. So, let's talk about some development news here. So, there is a Ferris wheel coming to Phoenixville. Have you heard about this?
I did not hear about that until earlier.
So it's a historic 78-foot Ferris wheel, and they called it the Phoenix Wheel. And the reason it's called that is because the Phoenix Bridge Company, a subsidiary of Phoenix Ironworks, originally built the iron components to the wheel over a century ago, and this is going to be it's getting put in right now, which is pretty cool. So it's going to be at the Schuylkill River Heritage Center. They're organizing the return to Chester County. It's going to cost them about $2 million, and they're actually like welding it on site. And it's going to be right by the township building and the French Creek Trail. So I know you're touring people down in Phoenixville all the time. What do you think about this for Phoenixville Borough? I mean, this is something that I haven't seen in a while now, and I'm continued to be amazed.
No, I think it's pretty awesome. It's another addition into Phoenixville right now, which I think it could be a really exciting time. Good entertainment.
Whatever that they're doing in Phoenix. I mean, I grew up outside of Phoenixville. The people of Phoenixville should be very proud of what's happening with the town there, because it did not look like this 20, 30 years ago. And the only time I've seen a Ferris wheel locally is like when the Phillies are in the World Series, right? And they bring it down to like Citizens Bank. They'll bring it to in the Parkway, or not the Citizens Bank Way, like right between kind of that intersection where you get Xfinity Live and it's like Caddy Corner. That's the only time I've seen that, or a fair. So the fact that they have a permanent Ferris wheel there, I think is really cool. And the fact that it was built there, it's like an artifact. And that to me talks about heritage, community, resilience. I mean, Phoenixville continues to amaze me. I think this is a really great thing. And it's going to probably, like, I could see some really cool festivals going on around the holidays, the spring. I mean, you could do everything around there, and you're right by the French Creek Trail there as well. So I think this is a really great move for Phoenixville. Do you think this helps more people want to buy in Phoenixville, Jordan? What do you think happens there?
I could definitely see that, especially for families with, children who are looking to, be in that area already. I think that it's a nice added addition.
And Phoenixville, I mean, there's such demand for any place with like a walkable downtown. How often do you get clients asking you like, hey, I want somewhere I can walk to? Like, how often does this happen to you?
Pretty often, whether it's like in the city, obviously they want to be around and obviously you have a lot to walk around in the city, but even in the borough of Westchester, that's a hot spot to be around. There's so much activity going on.
Well, you get those spots. You get like Amedia is another one, along the main line.
Kennett.
Yeah, Kennett. I mean, Kennett's another place that was not like this years ago. And to me, the more development you see with these local towns, I think it's going to end up helping more homes and housing be built out there. I think it's good for builders to start investing in those areas because you never saw a lot of new construction in Phoenixville until they got the borough kind of right. And then there's all these new townhome communities and single family homes being built. I'm clear this is another catalyst to that, and it's going to continue to help the area grow. So I think that's a big win for Phoenixville doing something like this that also means a lot to the people that live there.
For sure. That is awesome.
All right, so I got some questions for you about this. This is the last thing I want. So the Delaware County Shopping Center down in the Shops at Concord. So this is right at Glen Mills. It's right at 202 and Ridge Road in Concord Township. So there's been a lot of controversy here about this plot of land in terms of traffic, what's going to be there, what's it going to do to traffic patterns. And now you've got a giant supermarket going in to be the anchor store, taking 53,000 square feet of the 5,000 square feet, so about a third on the 25.5 acre plot. What do you think about this? Is this good? Is this bad? I mean, because there's always people always complain about this development happening. I don't know if that's necessarily the right move, but what do you think about another shopping center being built? And it's just kind of south of Painter's Crossing to give everyone some perspective.
Exactly. That's what I was. I feel like that area, especially, I mean, growing up being around that area is always a little bit congested. And then you throw the holiday season in there when I think about that. So a little bit, even 10 times more congested. I mean, options are a good thing, though, too, at the same time. So I think it could a give and take right there.
So I am on the other side of this because a lot of the community resistance has been around traffic concerns has been like number one.
Yes. I
don't know what these people want because, having convenient shopping to me is like a big plus. Like not like we have a grocery store that just opened about 2 years ago. It's like 7 minutes from my house.
Okay. Nice.
I'm like, this is great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't want to go to these other places. I want to go somewhere that's in and out. It's quick. I'm all about convenience. Yes. That's me. So there's been a lot of pushback on this. And I mean, this is, it's an area that is developing. There's a lot of new construction down there. Unionville, Chadds Ford, the school district down there, I think is pretty highly sought after. This is going to be the 11th giant in Delaware County. So it's bringing another, more jobs to the area. And apparently there's going to be a club studio next to there. I think that's a gym.
I think so too.
I would defer to you on that one.
I'm pretty sure.
I work out in my basement. There's a flagship car wash, which it's always hard finding a car wash around as well. Like you have a really nice car. How often are you looking for like a reliable car wash?
In this weather, every single day.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So there's going to be a car wash there. America's Tire. And there's 6 available retail spaces for restaurant concepts, anywhere from like 4,000 to 15,000 square feet. I think you got to be very careful what you wish for, where you don't want these areas to be developed. Now, this is also right across the street from a Whole Foods, but Whole Foods isn't for everybody. And there's also like a Wegmans, like not far from there too. So I mean, I think it just speaks to the amount of people that are moving to the area.
I mean, Giant's not a bad option at all. That's the one that I go to right across the street from me right now. So
sure.
Just gives people more options. Car wash isn't a bad one to throw in there too. And obviously, I mean, you're going to get traffic at any point throughout those hot times. So, options or traffic.
Well, and I don't think you can have it both ways because if you want to build new home developments, that's going to bring more traffic.
Yes.
When you look at what's going on Route 1 in that corridor, I think it's actually a pretty good thing to have that commercial corridor there because you look at Westchester. Westchester doesn't have a lot of commercial space, right? So you're going to pull in people from down there, or up there, I should say. It's a little further north because those folks don't like going to Exton anymore for the same reasons, even though they have a giant vacant mall there who's also complaining about traffic and developing that. And, to me, like for homeowners, like I'd want more amenities because it's going to bring more jobs to the area. It's going to bring more demand. It's going to be good for housing prices. I don't get the pushback here about traffic. Because I think anywhere you go, there's traffic anywhere around here.
There is. Yeah.
I mean, think about, talk to me, like I'd imagine you're probably showing homes like during rush hour sometimes.
Yes.
Is there pretty much traffic everywhere?
Everywhere, all the time. I mean, especially, the area we're in right now get pretty congested around here. So, it comes with, the morning rush hour and the evening rush hour. You're always going to get it.
So if you're a homeowner or a resident there, do you want more options or less options? Because a lot of the places they're talking about here when it comes to grocery stores, you said you like Giant. Well,
I do.
Wegmans is expensive. Whole Foods doesn't even have the stuff you want half the time. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for, but like if you got kids like I do, you can't get them the snacks they want
Yes.
from a whole. It's like
I'm
some.
healthy. I'm not Whole
Yeah, you know what I'm
Foods
saying.
eating
And I'm
that.
not
Yes,
saying
yeah,
it's
yes,
right or wrong,
yeah,
but you want to have those options. So
yeah.
I think you got to be very careful pushing back against this stuff because the more local businesses that are there, they're going to bring more jobs. It's going to be more convenient. You're not having to drive all over the place, and especially with malls not even existing anymore,
Mm.
a lot of these businesses are going to like strip malls as opposed to like the Granite Run Mall's gone.
Yeah.
So I don't get the pushback on this stuff. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like, you can't make everybody happy at the end of the day,
That is
too.
true.
You can't make everybody happy at the end of the day. I don't think that. I mean, I think options are a good thing now. Could open up, even if people are coming from different directions at that point. Giant could be closer to some people than others. So it's a give and take.
Well, you look at what's happened with Newtown Square as well with the development there along Ellis Preserve. I think that's been well received for the same reason.
Yes.
So we're getting played out. That's all we got for this week. If you want to follow Jordan, the best place to follow her is going to be on Instagram. It's at Jordan Slaughter _Realtor. JORDANSLAUGHTER, just like it sounds, _Realtor, REALTOR. You can follow me at TomToole3RD, and we'll be back next week on Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
Thanks, Tom.